Beautiful things don't ask for attention. Good morning, all. Today we will start our new lesson, that is Pip overcomes his fears. This is lesson number 6 from our English treasure book. The story is an extract from Charles Dickens' novel named Great Expectations. It begins with little Pip having a chance encounter with an escaped convict in a deserted churchyard. But before starting the story, I would like to ask you that do you have a nickname and how did you get it? Of course, you all have. In this chapter, we will meet Philip Pirrip. We learned right away, however, that as a young boy, his infant tongue could not pronounce his full name, so he called himself by a shortened version. His self created nickname stuck as nicknames often do, and he came to be called as Pip. Now let's know something about its author. Author is Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was born in 1812 and died in 1870. He was an English writer. He was highly popular during his lifetime and his works are widely read even today. He is best known for his novels, and many of which are considered literary classics. These novels include Great Expectations, David Copperfield, Oliver Twist, A Tale of Two Cities, and the Pickwick Papers. His works are known for presenting a sharp critique on the social truth of his times, such as poverty, crime, and social divisions. My family name being Pirip and my first name Philip. As a child, I could not make of both names nothing more than Pip. So I called myself Pip and came to be known as Pip. One cold winter afternoon in the churchyard, I realized completely for the first time that my father, mother, and brothers were dead and buried, and that I was quite alone in the growing dark. This frightened me, and I began to cry when suddenly Pip, the narrator of the novel, explains that his full name is Philip Pirrip, but that as a young child he could only pronounce his name as Pip, which is what everyone now calls him. Pip is an orphan who never knew his parents or any of his five brothers who never lived out of infancy. He lives with his older sister and her husband, Joe Gargery, the town blacksmith. They live in southeast England in marsh country near the sea. On the dreary afternoon, Christmas Eve of 1860, Pip sits sadly in the churchyard outside town where his parents and siblings are buried. Suddenly, hold your nose, cried a terrible voice as a man rose among the graves. Keep still, or I will cut your throat. He was a fearful man with an iron ring on his legs and no shoes. He was muddy and lamb, and shivered, glared, and growled as he seized me by the chin. Suddenly, a terrifying man dressed in rags and shackled in a leg iron, jumps out from a hiding spot behind a grave and grabs Pip. "Don't cut my throat, sir," I cried in terror. "Please don't, sir." "Tell us your name," said the man. "Quick." "Pip, sir, Pip." "Show us where you live," said the man. I pointed to our village among the trees a mile or more from the church. The man, after looking at me for a moment, turned me upside down and emptied my pockets. There was only a piece of bread in them, but he roughly set me on a tall tombstone while he ate the bread as if he were starved. "Is your mother here?" said the man. "Yes, sir," said I, whereupon he started up. "Also Georgiana, sir, and my father's there too. Who do you live with, if I kindly let you live?" The dirty man tells Pip to stay quiet and ask his name. After learning his name, the man wants to know where Pip lives. Pip points to his village, and the man, after looking at him for a bit, turns Pip upside down to empty his pockets. The only thing that falls out is a piece of bread. The man places Pip on a high tombstone, and while eating the bread that fell out of Pip's pocket, he asks him where his mother is. He is momentarily alarmed when Pip points behind him and says his mother is there. But he is quickly relieved when he figures out Pip is pointing to a gravestone. "Who do you live with, if I kindly let you live?" "My sister, sir, Mrs. Joe Gargery, wife of Joe Gargery, the blacksmith." He looked at the iron ring on his leg, then bent me back as far as he could, so that his eyes glared into mine. "The question is whether you are to be allowed to go on living. You know what a file is?" "Yes, sir." Now, in this conversation, the convict was more interested in a file so that he can be free from the leg iron. "Yes, sir," replied Pip. "And food?" He bent me over even more to frighten me. The convict was trying to frighten Pip. Pip replied, "Yes, sir. Get a file and food and bring them both to me to that old battery over there tomorrow morning. Never dare say a word or make a sign of having seen me, and you shall be allowed to live." "So, what do you say?" said convict. I said I would get the file and food and bring them to the battery early. I saw him turn and run towards home, but soon looked back. He was picking his way to the old battery. I grew frightened again and ran home without stopping. Pip had scared so much by convict's behavior. My sister, Mrs. Joe Gargery, was more than 20 years older than me and had brought me up. Joe was a dear, sweet-tempered fellow, and my sister was a strict woman. I had no choice but to steal food for the man from the pantry, means from the kitchen. It was Christmas Eve, and I decided to rob the pantry at dawn. When the darkness outside my window turned grey, I went downstairs, every board creaking, means every step was making sound. "Stop! Stop! Thief!" Get up, Mrs. Joe. The pantry had far in it than usual because of Christmas. But I had no time to pick and choose. I stole some bread and cheese, a pie, and a bone. Then I took a file from the forge. Forge means the workshop place. Students, we will complete this lesson in the next video. Till then, you have to read the chapter once by you. We will meet in the next video soon. Keep reading, keep growing.